All right, Alan, you're up next. Pick a letter. 4. Nope, that's a number. Right, yes, sorry, my bad. Can I buy a pencil? You can buy vowels. We don't sell pencils. But you sell voles? Is this some kind of weird pet shop? Seems a bit extravagant. What with the lights and big wheel? No, Alan. Vowels. Look, I can't take any more time with you. Celia? Did I win something? No, you didn't win anything. You've got to guess a letter. Is it a bill? What? Well, all the letters I get at home are bills. I mean, either that or junk mail trying to get me to buy sex jelly. Sex jelly? Yeah, it's like regular jelly, but, for sex. I get tons of mail about that. Is that not normal? Well, actually, when I said letter, I meant like from the alphabet. This is Wheel of Fortune, America's game. I thought that was baseball. No, that's America's pastime. Huh. I wonder if America also has a hobby. Well, it certainly doesn't seem to be picking letters. Why don't we try you, Jeff, at the end there? Do you want to pick a letter?
No, I don't.
No? But it's the point of this game. You're on TV, millions are watching, and probably screaming at the TV for one of you to do something.
Exactly. Pick a letter, Jeff. Dance like a monkey, Jeff. Conform to the heteronormative Caucasian act of picking a goddamn letter and winning some money. I say fight the power.
Is the answer M? Wait, Alan, are you saying you're picking the letter M?
N. Yes, M.
That's the letter I'm picking. I'm sorry, are you saying M or N? Feels like you said both there.
Yes.
Which one?
What?
Oh, hell bells. Vanna, just tell me there's an M or an N in the puzzle. No. There's both. There's both an M and an N. Did I not make that clear? What? Both? Great. Throw them both up there then. In fact, turn over all the letters except the very first letter. Just let's get on with this. Okay. Now, does one of the contestants feel like solving this puzzle? Me. All right. Go on then, Celia. Fatal Movie Diner. No. You have to solve it including the letter we didn't turn over. 4. All right, that's close. Come on, Vanna, let's give it to Alan. Forfeiture Movie Diner. What's that? Exactly.
You're listening to the sweet sounds of the After Movie Diner, which turned 10 years old in 2021. Insert suitable sounds of shock and awe now. If you enjoy the show and have pursued the recommended treatment from your medical providers, why not support the show on Patreon over at patreon.com/After Movie Diner. You can also donate to the show directly at aftermoviediner.com. Rate and review the show wherever podcasts are found and rating and reviewing is possible. Even a 1-star review provides useful insights on exactly the sort of petty-minded and wretched individual who negatively reviews free entertainment they do not need to be consuming. And now, try to contain your outrage and yawns. Here is your host, John Cross.
Well, hello. That's right. I am John Cross. Thank you very much, Leanna, as always, for that beautiful introduction. And I sit here, a man well aware that there have not been many After Movie Diner episodes in 2022. I get it. It has not been my focus this year. Other things have taken precedent. Moving into a new home, recording a ton of music, which is all available over on missplumbingfixtures.bandcamp.com. I've also performed in a couple of films by the wonderful filmmaking group Charlie and Farley, or Moturn Media and Shock Marathons, one of which is out. Magic Spot is out. There will be a Vimeo link in the episode description of where you can rent and or buy Magic Spot, but you can also head over to moturnmedia.com. That's MOTERN media.com and find the film there. And the next one will be out sometime in the spring of next year, Boston Johnny, so look forward to that. But yeah, After Movie Diner podcasting has not been in the forefront of my mind, mainly because I really just miss doing it with Jim and going to the cinema on a Thursday evening in New York. That was a lot of fun. But I do remember distinctly on the last episode saying, go on, send us some voicemails, send us some emails, something like that. Let's keep the show going. Send us some stuff. And the reason why I say send us some stuff, I want to explain this. It's not just because, we want to see that people are still listening, or we want to feel popular, or we're looking for attention. It is all those things. It's always all of those things. Human beings, especially people like myself, need a lot of attention. However, the other reason, jokes aside, that I ask for things like that is that when we get emails and when we get voicemails and when we get stuff like that, it always leads to, I think, something interesting. It always leads to a good discussion, a lot of jokes, a running gag like the shed thing back in 2020. I love all that. I've over the last few years much preferred the jokes and the banter and the running gags and the interaction with the listeners than I have just sitting around talking about film. I love watching films. I think I'm getting a little tired talking about them in quite the way that I was, but I love the platform to be able to talk to listeners, hear from listeners, interact back and forth, things like that. So the fact that since I put out that last episode, which was quite some weeks ago now, the fact that we haven't received anything is I think as good an indication as to why we should just wrap this show up and be done with it as I could possibly imagine. That and just the general lack of feedback, interaction, tweets. How long have I been saying, hey, you see me post something on Twitter or Facebook, just hit the retweet button or just hit the share button or just hit the like button. I tried nicely, I tried meanly. Just hit the, when I see your stuff, I share it. And I'm not bitter. This is not me being bitter. Everyone's got a busy life. Social media is a mess. The world is a mess. Everything is all over the place. And I really want to feel that thing inside me that says, you're right, the world's a mess. Everything's terrible. Give people something to laugh at. Give people something to listen to. Give them the song and dance numbers that they so desperately crave. Except that no one is craving it, apparently. Until last night, when out of nowhere, I got another voicemail from Marge. And people who have listened to the last few episodes know that Marge has been calling us with all sorts of interesting things, whether it's running for politics or advice or questions about restaurants that gave her terrible bowel problems. So Marge has become a wonderful running thing. So I shouldn't be too down. You know what I mean? I shouldn't be sat here being like, no one's banging on the door for more diners or for feedback or for more running gags, because little did we know this whole time, but Marge, the person leaving the voicemails, there's your running gag of 2022. So now I feel just incredibly guilty of being such a misery guts. I should be very thankful. I have not lots, but I have some really dedicated people who, do tweet and do send us stuff. And Marge is one of them. And so, hail Marge. Marge is wonderful. I am happy to say we do have one last diner recording of Jim and I in a diner. That was recorded, I think, back in March or April when he visited me in Connecticut. So that's what you're going to be hearing on this episode. It's a Donald Pleasence double bill, which seems suitable for Horrortober, October, Halloween, whatever you want to call it, the spooky season. A Pleasence double bill. And we have our running gag voicemail from Marge. So why are you being so down, John? And why are you indicating that this might be the last episode of the After Movie Diner? Well, I don't know. I don't know whether it's in your hands anymore, whether it's in my hands anymore, what it is. But I'm just letting you know, this might be the last episode of the After Movie Diner. And I can't imagine a better way of going out than with a slight plop, like some sort of hardened bowel movement dropping from a great height into a giant swimming pool of indifference. The last episode of the After Movie Diner might very well be what you're listening to right now. So without further ado, let's play Marge's voicemail. I don't think the voicemail jingle is worth... We only got one voicemail, so I don't think we need to play the jingle. But let's play Marge's voicemail. And then right after that, let's hear what could be, what might be the very last episode of the After Movie Diner. Thanks for the years and years and years and years of listenership, fun, frivolity, the opportunities that doing the After Movie Diner podcast and website that have opened up to me have been incredible, once in a lifetime experiences that I will never ever regret or forget or anything else ending in et. So it's been wonderful. Thank you very much. This should be more auspicious and a bigger moment, but maybe this is perfect, just the way it is. And like every other Diner episode, I've already rambled on entirely too long. This is why nobody listens anymore. And who can blame them? It's all my fault. Anyway, Marge's voicemail, and then a Donald Pleasence double bill with Jim and me in the familiar confines of a public diner once again after 2 years of pandemics and madness and political insanity and social media going down the toilet and threat of nuclear war and everything else that's going on right now. The world is in an absolute state, and make no mistake about it, it's all your fault. It's not them. Everyone wants to blame them. It's not them. It's your fault. It's our fault. If you want to make a better world, be that better world. I know it sounds like some trite poster with a inspirational quote on the bottom. Stop ballyhooing on the internet, says he, ranting on his podcast. Stop attacking your relatives because they have different opinions than you. Stop waving flags and marching and insulting people and burning stuff and kicking people and saying stupid things on social media. Just be better. Just be better. It's all of our faults. It's not them. It's not the other. It's not some group of people. We are all that group of people. And it's easy to pick out the villains, and it's easy to take sides. But what really makes a difference is just being better. Just be a better person. Says the man who is as in at fault and is entirely subject to all the faults and foibles that everyone else is. I'm saying it to myself as well. Anyway, I don't know. This all got away with me. Anyway, it's the last episode, so let's just enjoy it. Marge, and then to a diner somewhere in Connecticut. Thanks for listening. Thank you.
Hi, this is Marge here, and I'm calling you with a fantastic business opportunity. Listen, have you always wanted to make thousands of dollars a month but yet be your own boss? Of course, we all have, right? But I've got the secret, and the secret is the latest trend in multi-level marketing. Butt plugs. That's right, butt plugs. And I'm here to show you all the tips, all the tricks, all the secrets to make it happen so you can live your best life. I show you how to throw butt plug parties with your friends and family. I show you how to start butt plug social media campaigns, because you know those Gen Z kids, right? They're not finding this stuff anywhere else but on TikTok. I'll show you how to make butt plug TikTok videos. I'll show you how to become a fixture in your community so all your neighbors, everybody in your town knows of you as the butt plug guy. That's right. Listen, are you ready to live the life that you've always dreamt of? The life that you've always deserved? Well, when you're ready to live that life, call me back and I'll help you make it happen. Good day.
All right. Well,
hello.
This feels strangely familiar and yet weirdly alien.
Yeah, it is kind of weird.
Hello and welcome to the very last After Movie Diner episode.
Wait, really?
This is the very last After Movie Diner
episode. It could be. I could be knocked down by a polystyrene castle tomorrow, right?
You could be knocked down by a polystyrene castle. I think you need to speak a little louder.
Really?
That's fine. Yeah, just a little bit.
Do I need to speak a little louder?
Yeah.
Okay.
And maybe less creepily.
Less creepily.
I think a bit like the director was yelling at Oliver Reed in that last movie. Could you speak up? Oliver whisper every line.
Oliver Reed was not listening to anything the director had to say.
No, Oliver Reed was whispering every single line. Possible.
I'm sure what I want.
So here we are in the blue.
We're here. Sorry, I'm sorry. We are here.
This is not the first diner to be recorded in a Connecticut diner.
You've done them with Jay Mayer?
We done one with Jay Mayer. We did one with you at a cafe with all the cast of.
Oh yeah, with the Druid Gladiator.
We did Druid Gladiator.
It's just two, right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Should I get a Russian omelette, or would that be bad form?
Oh, why? Because of the whole.
We're at war or whatever.
I mean, I don't know what's in a Russian
sausage, broccoli, and cheese. I'm actually quite tempted by that.
Then just to order it. Yeah, nobody's going to care.
Should I call it a freedom omelette?
Wait a minute. They might. Yeah, call it a freedom omelette.
Or a Ukrainian omelette.
Could I have the freedom omelette? When they go what? You just go the Russian omelette. Stum. Don't mention the war. I mentioned it once, and I think
I got away with it.
They may think you're like an undercover. You have got an air about you of like undercover Russian spy. Yeah. Just with this like natty sweater and your
shirt. Bring me Russian omelette.
Could you bring me Russian omelette?
Bring me Russian omelette and your freedom.
Yes. I am good shoemaker. I live in town. I am American. What? Connecticut. Listen to my Connecticut accent.
I am from Connecticut. I really think I'm going to get the Russian. Do you think I should have eggs?
What?
What are their eggs like?
What do you mean?
Do they do good eggs? I want to know. You've been here.
What?
What is they like runny and like you know what I mean, like bad eggs at a diner?
No, they're good eggs.
All right. That's what I'm asking.
You're so weird.
I'm not weird.
I forgot how weird you are. I think I'd put to the back of my mind just how fucking weird you are.
Well, that's why 2 years away from me's been a blessing, mate.
Yeah. We haven't done this in 2 years.
2.5 years. When was the last time we did it?
What?
In person, in a diner. What was our last diner episode?
In person episode.
Yeah. What was it?
I don't know. I feel like I should know. I could look it up, but
I feel like I remember us meeting. It was round about Christmas time.
Do you want me to look it up? I can look it up. I can edit it.
I mean, I remember we met.
Let me look it up.
Okay. I'm just curious. And a latte. Can I get a latte?
Can I get a latte?
Can someone write in and tell me why the phrase...
They can't write in. It's the last ever episode.
Shut up.
There's no writing in.
There's the... Can I get a latte? Can I get a latte? That's from somewhere, so please email
English or American?
I think it's English.
Okay.
I feel like it's Simon Pegg.
So...
Can I get a latte? Already is on.
All right. So the last... Okay, so this is interesting.
Okay.
The last episode you and I recorded in a diner was January 27th, The Gentleman, the Guy Ritchie movie.
Oh, that was awful.
But the last one to be released before we went on lockdown, which was also recorded in a diner with you, but recorded a whole year earlier, was the Come to Daddy with John Wallace, with your brother, which was recorded a full year earlier, and it took a year longer for the movie to come out.
I think it might have been an episode, but John re-listened to it and said that I was talking about how they were building hospitals in China for for this virus and how it was serious, and you were like, no, they'll be fine.
Dude, no, that was a whole year before. There's no way that you were mentioning coronavirus like a whole year before.
No, just 2020.
Are you talking about the gentleman episode?
Yeah.
Oh, the gentleman.
Yeah, gentleman episode.
Sure.
Yeah, obviously not a whole year before.
Yeah.
He just got chills when he heard it.
Oh, me just dismissing you?
No, but the idea of like being in that place, like just before it all kicked off, you know?
Yeah. And then the first quarantine episode we did was the 5 films you would watch on lockdown, and I bet you haven't watched any of them.
Oh no! What was I going to watch?
I don't know. It was all like The Bourne Identity or something.
Oh yeah. Well, I think it was the idea of.
I'm just going to get a bacon cheeseburger deluxe with steak fries.
We're just going to keep it simple.
And I'm going to have a little thing of gravy to dip my French fries in.
All right. What do I get from my Russian omelette? Nothing.
Is it like riding a bike? Do you feel like we're just back at it right away, or do you feel that there's some trepidation to like live up to the former glory?
I don't necessarily describe it. I mean, it's former. To live up to the former.
To live up to the
glory is definitely under debate.
Yeah. So what I wanted to banter about first.
Okay. Do we have to describe it as banter?
No, we don't have to at all.
Okay.
Would you like your water bottle?
Yes, I would.
Is that?
Can I get a latte?
Is that going to be your new catchphrase now?
I think if it's not someone else's, if I dreamt it like Paul McCartney dreamt yesterday,
right?
And I dreamt the catchphrase, can I get a latte?
It's not much of a catchphrase, though, is it? Because it just makes you sound like a bit of a twat.
It's not, but I feel like I'm off to a late career start if that's my plan. To build a career,
to build catchphrases.
Yeah, I feel like I may have missed the boat.
Yeah,
I mean, in terms of time and talent.
Yeah, I think just.
The talent boat catchphrases very much left me standing on the shore.
I think pretty heavy in the meme sphere is got to be your catchphrase that goes down in history as being.
That was pretty good.
That's one of my favorites.
Yeah, let's talk about how great I am. I don't think we do that enough.
Well, what I wanted to say was
that... Is it about how great I am?
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
But you have had, in the last few hours, a taste of the Connecticut life that I'm living.
I have, yeah.
And
I'm very impressed, mate.
Thank you. And as we record, there's one piece of my Connecticut life that that I'm not doing tonight because you're here and because we're recording this.
Actually, now I'm a bit scared.
No, it's good.
Is it like a sax thing?
No, it's not. No, it's not a sax thing.
Okay.
So
is it like you, a greasy pole, and the goats?
Yeah. No, it's not that. But I have something that I do every Saturday night now. That I think you're going to. No, I think you're going to be like. Oh, if Crossy was ever going to get to a point where he was doing this thing, this is how he should be doing it. So every Saturday night now I bowl. I go bowling, right?
Oh, really?
But I go bowling with Jack, my landlord and friend, and Patsy, with a bunch of people that he knows, all of whom have nicknames. So I'm on a very ramshackle, unofficial bowling team with Cowboy, Slim, TJ, and Amazing Bob.
That's great. What's your nickname?
Well, I don't have one yet. I've got to develop a nickname. They haven't.
Oh, it's just something that happens.
They haven't bequeathed me a nickname yet.
I see. Okay. Can we have a think about that?
We can, sure. But how about if
Peter Bowles?
That's good. If I was going to do anything,
no, that is good though.
No, it is.
But I mean, they wouldn't get it. No. But if you were to have like a church little the star,
a little spiv,
and be like somebody's to be husband. That's what it is. Look, they're all wearing the same T-shirt.
Probably prom or something. I don't know. Do they have proms in March?
I don't know. Kick off something. I don't know. They're all wearing the same T-shirt.
She's coughing and sneezing into her arms, so we're probably going to get COVID at this point.
Who is?
The woman behind us. Anyway, no. So I was saying,
by Peter Bowles joke.
If I was going to be on a bowling team in Connecticut with a bunch of ramshackle people between the ages of 35 and 75, you would want me to be on a team with Cowboy, Slim, Patsy, Jack, and Amazing Bob.
I absolutely would.
Yeah, well, that's now my life, dude.
It's really great.
So on
every Saturday night,
I go bowling with Cowboy Slim, Captain Jack.
Captain Jack?
I just almost put a straw up my nose.
Captain Jack?
I call him Captain Jack.
Oh, because he's the captain of the team.
But he's the unofficial captain. He brought us all together.
Did you christen him Captain Jack?
I did, yes.
And how did he take that?
He liked that, yeah. He always sings the Billy Joel song when I say it. I'm always like, good job, Captain Jack. And he's always like, Captain Jack will get you high tonight. Like, he always sings like the refrain of the Billy Joel song.
Very cool.
Yeah. So, yeah, of course, the one night you're in Connecticut.
I know, what the fuck is
It's got to be prom. It's got to be...
They're all coming.
Yeah.
Are we in... My only worry is that are we in the prom section?
No, they're also all over there as well.
Yeah, I guess so. Okay,
I mean, there's nothing we can do to escape.
Yeah, no, I know.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
But funny that we would be the ones.
Yeah.
What would you guys like?
Can I get a coffee?
Okay.
Please?
Coffee?
Yeah, I want a coffee. What's wrong with a coffee?
Late at night for coffee.
And a Russian omelette, please.
Okay, what kind of toast?
What are my choices?
White, wheat, or rye?
Right.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll have a bacon cheeseburger. Can I make the cheese Swiss?
Bacon Swiss cheeseburger?
Yeah.
Okay.
And can I have that deluxe with steak fries, though?
Okay.
And can I get a side of brown gravy with that?
Side of brown gravy, okay.
And that's it. Thank you.
Alright. Anything else to drink for you?
Nope, water is good for me.
Okay, I'll get it to you as soon as I can, okay?
That's fantastic. Thank you. So what's hilarious is we must have done, I don't know how many...
That feels like a worrying qualifier.
What?
I'll get it to you as soon as I can.
Well, just meaning that they're probably busy with all the kids coming in.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Will you stop worrying about everyone else in the world and worry about me and this show and
Yeah, all right.
the last ever
episode of the
of the
Diner,
afternoon,
because you are going to assassinate me tonight.
If you keep
You're going to push
interrupting.
me out of a moving car on our journey back.
I was hoping that my bowling story would
Peter Bowles
have had more.
I liked the bowling story.
I thought you would have been more impressed.
I'm extremely impressed by everything. It's massively distracting when like coach loads of teenagers turn up in the diner that you're eating in.
Right, but what I want you to do is embrace the idea that out of all the nights you could have come to Connecticut to do a diner episode, it happened to be the night with a bunch of...
I know, I feel like either a horror movie is going to happen or it's an episode of The OC.
I live in a horror movie.
That's true, you do.
I live down a windy lane.
But your house is really lovely. I mean, the woods don't creep, even though there's no leaves on them, the woods don't creep me out. They're very soothing.
They're serene leaves.
They are serene.
But aren't the most serene woods the ones that hide the darkest danger?
I don't know, is that a thing?
I don't I don't know, I just made it up.
I like it.
You like it?
I do like it,
It's a good concept.
It feels like a good tagline.
You know what it could be?
What's that?
You know, at the beginning of books by established authors, they have like a quote, and then it's like, you know, my
Like they did before the weird one before the first movie. Before the Uncanny. That was like, what was that quote about?
Yeah,
it was like Ted Hughes.
Yeah, right. Well, you could have a quote.
Welcome to a horror film about cats in Quebec. And to introduce it, a Ted Hughes quote.
A Ted Hughes quote. Why not a Wayne Gretzky quote about the time that he was playing hockey with cats? Cat hockey.
Yeah, cat hockey. That makes sense to me, mate.
It does.
Again,
wasn't-
a film that would have benefited from a co-producer credit slung your way.
Yeah, he wasn't a French Canadian though. So, who's a good French Canadian who might be able? Isn't Paul Langlois from The Hip? Isn't he like originally French Canadian?
I haven't got a clue.
I'm just going by his last name, maybe not.
No, I mean I think that's safe, but I don't know. I generally don't know of any famous French Canadians.
Okay.
There must be some,
Right.
right?
Right. Right. I don't know. We just wouldn't get the programming. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like one of the kids in the hall was a French Canadian kids in the hall. Like, they were all from like the Toronto area.
Yeah. You're saying if we were French, we might be like, oh yeah, these are the famous French Canadians.
I'm saying if you lived in French Canada, you would see French Canadian programming one would expect, but the programming that ekes its way across the border either to North America or to the UK is going to be English speaking. And unless you had a group like the the tragedy hip of the Kids in the Hall that had like the token French Canadian, we wouldn't know that. Do you know what I mean?
I do. I see what you're saying.
Like even with Letterkenny, I don't think there's like a French Canadian character in Letterkenny, or Trailer Park Boys. There's not, like, I'm just saying, in all of the Canadian exports, there's not like the French Canadian.
Yeah, that's weird. You think that would be like an easy, I don't know, character to put in something?
Well, I don't know. Maybe there's a great goal. Right, but that's a sketch on Kids in the Hall. I don't think Dave Foley or
no, they're playing French Canadians though. So that's the only French Canadian celebrity I know is the two fur trappers in Kids in the Hall.
The fur trappers who go after Armani suits.
Yeah.
Many Armani. The best thing about Kids in the Hall, that particular sketch, it's got nothing to do with the concept of the sketch or any of the lines.
No.
It's the way Scott Thompson grabs the rope of the canoe and goes, oh, like that, and then like hooks it over a post. It's just that. It's like the chicken lady going to the strip club. It's only funny for Kevin McDonald going, two cows. Like, it's the little bits
you're
in
right.
Kids in the Hall that
You're right.
just like, it's fucking genius, like the way they perform it. It's not the script, the sketches weren't like on paper laugh out loud funny, but the way they perform them, you're just like, I could watch this forever. But Scott Thompson going, like hooking on the boat, even when you know it's just like this flimsy boat with wheels on the bottom. Like the way he did it was just genius. But yeah, so that character. Why are we talking about French Canada again? Oh, because Montreal, the Uncanny, you said.
The Uncanny. Hey, let's talk about the Uncanny.
Well, let's talk about the Uncanny. But I wanted to say, at the beginning of your novel, or any novel, or anything, you should have, you know, the credits. Like, this is a first pressing, blah 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 blah. Then you have the next page that says, "To Mum, thanks for all the eggs," or whatever. And then the next thing is the quote. You know, before then there's like a pre-word or whatever, forward or whatever, and then you have like the pre-chapter, and then you have the chapter. Like, there's all these like sections of a book when you're just like, it could begin chapter 1, like nobody cares. Like, you're pre-sectioning all these parts of the book, nobody cares. Anyway, the quote could be, "The most serene trees hide the darkest of dangers." Jonathan Cross, 2022. That could be the quote in your book. And then people could be like, "Ooh, what's the book?" It's a book about like mysterious trees, and then the book isn't about that at all. But then,
I didn't get the other bit going, I really enjoyed it, but I don't remember anything about trees. No. And you'd be like, metaphor.
Metaphors. Yeah, the most serene tree. Well, they do say, if you're using it as a metaphor, the whole like, he was a quiet man, lived alone, but then ends up carving up 15 children or whatever. He ends up carving up 15 children. I'm saying,
why would you say that loudly?
Because all the children hit.
I see.
So, but the quiet man lives alone. That could be the serene tree that hides the darkest danger. The quiet man who lives alone. It's a metaphor, you see.
I don't think you want to start with a quote that you made up and then metaphorically back it up into a plot. I'm just saying, as far as, you know, coming up with an idea for a novel goes, there's probably
I wasn't doing that. I was just saying...
That's kind of what you were doing.
No.
You were staking your artistic future.
No, I was saying
this.
I was saying that you should use the quote in the book, but the book should have nothing to do with it. But then you said it's a metaphor, and I said, right.
So you're saying you want to run a publishing house,
yes,
where you play a series of obscure pranks on readers.
Yeah.
I'm all right with that.
Quote, pretty heavy in the meme sphere.
Pretty heavy in the meme sphere.
And then the rest of the book has nothing to do with the internet.
You should put that. That should be the first line on your LinkedIn page.
Pretty heavy
in the meme sphere.
Well, I am now the user experience manager of the Specialty Food Association.
Yeah. I pity the user.
Pretty heavy in the meme sphere.
Yeah, pretty heavy in the meme sphere. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
You've never had coffee. We've recorded the diner I don't know how many times.
I feel like
you've never had coffee. Ever.
I've had coffee.
No. You've never had coffee.
I have had coffee.
You've had chamomile tea and English breakfast.
Can I get a latte? I say that all the time. That's literally my catchphrase.
Well, it's a catchphrase you just came up with that you think that maybe Simon Pegg said in something.
Well, if you didn't, it's mine.
You're having a coffee this late at night?
Yeah,
I would be
have a
up
coffee
all night.
We're going to eat the food, and then what are we going to do?
Go home.
And
go to sleep.
Really?
Or watch another movie.
Or watch another movie, exactly.
Okay.
I'm not going to have any coffee after.
I'll last through another movie through sheer piss and vinegar.
What are we going to... Well, let's talk about the movies that we are here to talk about. It's very important to
you are cutting through the banter moment, and the whole reason I wanted
thought the banter moment was over.
I wanted you back on the show.
We were
was
banter.
I don't care about the movie.
I know, but we have to banter about the movie.
Well, we don't. I like the banter about our lives. People don't care about the movie.
I don't have one of those.
They care about us.
I don't have one.
They care about us. And your
Do they?
And your fur-lined hoodie that's also a weird...
My Russian spy.
What are those Paddington coats called?
Duffel coats.
So it's like a weird... It's like a duffel coat meets a cardigan meets a hoodie. It's like a trifecta of coat.
My wife bought me this.
I love it.
Cardigan, hoodie.
It's even got like a leather patch on it.
Yeah.
It's like got a kangaroo on it.
Yeah, because it's Kangol, isn't it?
I don't think anyone's ever worn that in the outback.
It gets very chilly in the outback at night.
Does it?
Yeah.
Are you talking about an outback steakhouse or the actual outback?
The actual outback. It's like a freaking desert, isn't it?
Probably
it's cold at night.
Probably gets pretty cold at an outback steakhouse at night as well.
Only spiritually.
All right. So the two movies we watched tonight.
Set the scene.
Talk about the archive.
That's what I'm saying. You
talk about the archive.
You talk about the archive.
You talk about the archive. So 2 years ago, we made a blood pact.
2 years ago, it was his birthday. I mean, he had many before that and a few since, but it was a big birthday. I won't tell you which one.
40.
50.
I'm happy to be 40.
It was 50.
I was 50.
I said, well, I'll take you. At the time, he was broke.
Yeah. I wasn't that broke.
No, but you were broke-ish.
Broke-ish.
You were still struggling under the weight of...
New York.
New York, of being broke. And so I said, well, I'll take you to the archive. Because we'd seen Charlie, I guess, quite recently.
About the archive.
Yeah. And we didn't meet Charlie. He was filming today, I guess. But it doesn't really matter. The point is, we were going to go to the archive, and I was going to give him 100 quid, and he was going to spend whatever he wanted.
Which is a
get whatever he wanted with his 100 quid.
Which is a throwback to...
Callback. Yeah.
2 times. One when we went to Kim's when it was closing down on the Lower East Side.
And then you definitely had no money.
I definitely had no
money. And
money.
I'd been given like $100 gift card from work for something or other, like filling out a health survey or something.
Right.
And I gave you the gift card, and you bought... you bought a bunch of very cool shit. Yeah.
And then, years later, when I lived in the Bronx, we went to the FYE that was closing down.
That's right.
And we bought those. People will remember. We bought that weird British box set that had 3.
That had some good movies.
Robin Asquith films in it.
Yeah. I mean, they were terrible, but in terms of us sitting down and watching them,
Tower of Evil.
That was the Lighthouse one, right?
Hospital something or other.
Yeah.
And
I'm not sure we ever watched the third one. I think we just watched.
We did. Inseminoid was the third one.
Oh, that's right, the alien one. Yeah.
And we covered all 3 for the podcast.
Yeah.
And they were all pretty awful. I think Tower of Evil was the best one out of the 3.
I think the Lighthouse one was the best one. Yeah.
But Robin Asquith was in those 2.
He was in the hospital one in the Tower of Evil. Yeah.
Yeah, he was not in
Inseminoid. No, which was just bad.
Inseminoid was just bad. So we have this is the closing of a trilogy of video store purchases bearing fruit as a After Movie Diner episode. And this one is the last ever After Movie Diner episode.
Yeah, the last ever After Movie Diner.
And as the last ever After Movie Diner episode, we thought that it would work that we watch 2 Donald Pleasence movies. One of which purchased today, the other one purchased recently at the archive.
And I nearly bought it at the archive because I'm glad I didn't, obviously.
Right, obviously.
Now. But when I found out that he had it, I was like, well, we'll watch that one.
Well, there was 2 things. So we had to do a Vinegar Syndrome a Blu-ray because Vinegar Syndrome and the Archive are entwined. For people who don't know, the Archive is the brick and mortar face of Vinegar Syndrome.
It's brilliant. They've got books, like Pulp Fiction books.
They've got everything.
Comics,
They've got Laserdiscs,
LPs,
comics, books,
VHSs,
LPs, posters, T-shirts, Betamax.
I know that T-shirts.
Yeah, they've got everything.
Oh, shit, I wish I'd known about the T-shirts. I might have had a look at the T-shirts.
Upstairs, they have vinyl, both new and secondhand. They have CDs. I mean, they have anything media-wise.
Physical.
On a physical media on a 3-story building in downtown Bridgeport. And I picked this bum face up off the train, drove him over to the Archive. We spent about an hour mooching in the Archive.
Lots of fun. I enjoyed that.
You ended up buying me, I think, about 5 different Blu-rays.
Yeah. And I got myself one.
You got yourself one and a book and a comic. And one of the ones we bought today was The Uncanny.
Uncanny.
I believe it's the Severin Blu-ray edition of The Uncanny, starring Peter Cushing, Ray Milland,
Donald Pleasence.
and Samantha Eggar, which people will know from The Brood, amongst other films.
Which one was she?
Samantha Eggar was the Donald Pleasence's bit of stuff in that 3rd story. And the other one we watched was The Fall of the House of Usher, or just The House of Usher, I think it's
It was just called The House of Usher,
from 1989, I think, or 1988, starring Oliver Reed and Donald Pleasence, and 2 very bland American kids.
Yes, she was incredibly bland.
She was incredibly bland, and he looked like what's his name from Lawnmower Man.
Oh, Jeff Fahey.
He looked like Jeff Fahey. Like, you know how like there's Sylvester Stallone and Frank Stallone, and then there's like Patrick Swayze and Don Swayze. The guy in this looked like the Don Swayze to Jeff Fahey. You know what I mean? He looked very Fahey-esque, but he had a ponytail and he was a bit of a bland twat.
Yes.
But he was like the bland twat Don Swayze version of Jeff Fahey.
And she looked like the medical examiner from a mid-2000s CBS procedural.
Yeah, that's what she looked like. And in fact, she's probably even been that.
Yeah.
Because she hasn't done much after this. She's done a bunch of TV shit after this. But let's start with The Uncanny. That was the first one we watched.
Yeah.
It was
built on a forest of lies.
A forest of lies. A web of lies. So
because somebody thought.
Yeah.
By the way, I still maintain that whoever made this movie is.
You'll have to speak louder, but yes.
Can you not hear me?
I can hear you, but only just. So you'll have to speak louder.
Okay.
So yes.
I was actually going to say at that point. Can you hear me? Like the people would be like
the people who made The Uncanny.
No, the people who are listening to the podcast right now can talk back. Honestly, I was going to say, can you hear me? Like that they're fucking out there.
Like you've spent too much time on Zoom calls for the last 2 years.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
And you're like, am I on mute? Is my headphone working? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yeah. And everyone's like, we don't want to hear your bum face. Turn your camera off. Yeah. So it was a French-Canadian, British co-production.
Yeah, where people without talent.
The producer, one of the producers from Amicus, which was the horror outfit that Peter Cushing worked for after Hammer and during Hammer as well.
Yeah,
but it's not an Amicus production, noticeably, because I think whoever the partner was in Amicus went, we're not being a part of this.
No,
this is awful. But they sell it on the back of like, one of the producers from Amicus. You're like, all right, okay. And then like a French-Canadian producer you've never heard of. And you think, Montreal, Canada, that might be exciting.
That's what I was thinking.
But then on the back of the Blu-ray, and I really should have read this earlier, but it was like, this movie, which movie review website you've never even heard of. Like a movie review website even more obscure than AfterMovieDiner.com.
Wow.
Like, I don't know, it was like FlicksWe'veWatched.com says one of the best killer cat movies ever made. And I was like, oh, that's a bit worrying. First of all, killer cats. That's just ridiculous.
There's a reason why this is one of the best.
It's one of the only that I can think of.
Because nobody thinks that killer cats are scary.
No. Now,
okay, but I have a question.
Yeah.
At what point in the process, given that the script has no merit, nobody involved has any talent, and the idea is that it's people being harassed by cats. Three stories of people being individually harassed by cats.
Horrible people
being harassed by cats. Did somebody go, yes, this. I'm going to spend the next 2 years of my life, whoever they are, doing this.
Well, I think so. I think a lot of people owed a lot of people favors. That's the first thing. Secondly, because like John Vernon is in this film for like 5 minutes in 3 separate scenes, wearing exactly the same silk scarf and ridiculous hat.
Do you think something else was being filmed in Montreal at the time, where they were able to like pinch some people?
Yeah, probably.
Because what else is there?
But I also think that Peter Cushing, because this is his third portmanteau or what do they call them? The movies? Anthology movies.
Anthology,
behind Dr. Horror's House of Horrible or whatever that... I forget what that's called, but the Dr.
Asylum is one. You just say that already.
No, The Skull is one of them.
I'm sure there's one called Asylum.
There's one called Asylum, okay. Which was produced by this guy as well.
Yeah.
And then there's this, where... And this is true. Peter Cushing plays a novelist or just an author. We don't know whether it's fiction or fact.
No, it's supposed to be like fact, right? Because he says I was right about aliens. It's like bold claim. So I wrote about aliens, and look at what people think about aliens now. Exactly what they thought before, which is that they don't exist.
And also the pyramids.
And the pyramids. Yeah. So I think he's sort of like a fearless investigative novelist exposing the truth about things that aren't true.
He comes to Ray Milland, who I know best from X, The Man with X-Ray Eyes, which is actually a really good Roger Corman movie from the 60s.
Was he in a Hitchcock movie? What do I know Ray Milland from?
Yeah, he might be. I've got a feeling Milland is in a Hitchcock movie. I don't know which one. I've got a feeling he's in like Topaz or something.
I'm sure Milan's in something. I know Milan from something. I can't think what it is.
Take the Swiss cheeseburger.
Over here, please. Thank you.
Omelet, and I'll be back with the toast.
Thank you very much.
You wanted the coleslaw, right?
No, I wanted the brown gravy.
Brown gravy. And you don't want coleslaw?
No, I don't need coleslaw. I'm good, thank you.
What are those chips?
Steak fries.
Wow, they look good. Your burger looks really good.
Yeah,
I'm jealous.
So Peter Cushing is an author that comes to Ray Milland and goes, cats are trying to take over the world. Right?
No.
Cats are evil.
Cats have taken over the world. Cats are in charge and we don't realise it.
Right. Cats are evil. They're in charge. We don't realise it. They have come down here to control us. We think of them as pets, but really they're in charge, right? Mm-hmm. To which Ray Milland says, I'm skeptical, but I'll hear you out. Which is baffling, because anyone else confronted with a insane, wiry-haired Peter Cushing flapping into my house at night, babbling about cats, would say, it's lovely you're here, Peter, but it's getting late and I want to go to bed.
What I like is that he's interested. Right, but the deal's not done.
Yeah.
Because your book about how cats are secretly in charge of us, your expose very much depends on the quality of the writing. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm interested in publishing a book where you hypothesize that cats are secretly in charge, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Like, once you're interested in that, you're kind of throwing your hat in the ring.
Right. You're either into the concept, or you're not.
Get out of my house, you nutter. Or
thank you so much. But he's given the opportunity to prove his case by telling 3 of the most tedious and improbable tales known to man that can only be explained by the actors got to keep their costumes. I don't know, like...
No, I'm with you on that one. I think there's...
Like, why... Like, Donald Pleasence, even though he's only in the film for, like, 12 minutes, 15 minutes...
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Seemingly got through about 9 different outfits.
Fucking hell, that's good toast.
Good.
White toast is normally very hard, but that melts in your mouth.
Good.
I should have a piece.
I might do that.
That's unbelievable. I never get excited about toast. You know what I mean?
Ladies
Especially
and gentlemen,
diner toast.
on the last ever Diner episode, Jim Wallace gets excited about toast.
Fucking hell. That's right. So, my main problem here, right?
Yeah, stop.
Is, you know when you're watching a horror movie,
Yeah.
and it's about a werewolf, and they don't have any money,
Yeah.
and you know at some point they're going to have to show the werewolf,
Right.
and you know it's probably going to be a bit crap.
Yeah.
Well, when that happens, and it's really crap, you know, like it's howling to, like, Baldric spinning with an Alsatian head.
Yes.
Right? Level effects. Even that is better than at the moment of, like, the horrific reveal of the monster, cutting to, like, a cuddly-looking cat sitting on a wardrobe looking disinterested.
Yeah.
But with, like, bam, bam, bam. But it's just a cat on a wardrobe looking disinterested. That's it. It's not even, you know, do that thing where they cut to a cat going, you know, like hissing or whatever. But I basically was like, look, we can do 2 hisses as your maximum in a horror movie, right? You can't keep cutting to a hissing cat. That's going to get boring. But the only thing cats ever do that could reasonably be described as scary is hissing.
It's hiss.
Because otherwise they sit there looking bored and disinterested. That's what cats do.
It. Yeah.
They do 2 things. So it's an entire movie where at the moment when you're supposed to cut to a scare, instead you cut to 1 or between 1 and 3 cats sitting down looking bored and disinterested. It's fucking weird.
So what's interesting is, in most other movies, the cat scare is like a well-known thing. Like when you think Jason's going to burst in through the window, it's a cat.
Yeah.
We're momentarily startled, and then we get on with it, right? This is a movie where someone's watched that in another movie and gone, wait, what if we make a whole movie that is predicated entirely on the cat scare?
Yeah.
But let's just go to a Montreal animal shelter and just find regular cats. Like, they don't even manage to get like a particularly menacing looking cat. And some cats can look menacing.
Yeah. Yes. But they get
because of the weird faces or whatever.
Yeah.
But, like,
but this one's like the main one is like a white fluffy looking motherfucker.
A white fluffy looking cat.
Who's just looking bored and disinterested. I mean, like, this is what I'm saying about how the director must be a psychopath.
Right.
Like, he must hate people and have the lowest opinion of what is considered entertaining.
Right.
Because none of it works.
None of it.
Literally none of it works.
None of it.
And yet they thought, well, this is a good idea. Let's keep going. They didn't even try.
Yeah. No, after
good.
filming and editing the first, relentlessly tedious episode, why they didn't all just go, well, this was a failed effort.
We should pack this in.
We should pack this in. Probably because they thought...
Cushing is not bad.
No, Cushing's...
But they presumably they had him for half a day and that was it.
Cushing's incredible because he's literally...
how this toast is good.
He's literally able to, like, stare at a white, fluffy pussycat.
Right. Yeah, that was the only...
And
the
be
only
generally
good bit of
freaked
the film.
out by it.
The only good bit of the film was the twice repeated joke where he makes a claim about a cat, then it cuts to the cat's point of view and you can hear the guy go meow or whatever, and Cushing goes, no, it's true, or whatever, talking to the cat. That was funny. That was good. That was it.
And Cushing looking out the window to see 2 cats like hanging out together, like just on the sidewalk or whatever.
Yeah.
Everything okay?
Everything's great.
And when Ray Milland comes back and he goes, and Ray Milland looks out the window, it's just his cat left, and he's like, there were 2 cats there, there were, and you're like, 2 cats? Wait, sorry, dial it back. There were 2 cats outside. I'm sorry, that confirms your entire thing. 2 cats?
2 cats in the garden.
2 cats.
2 cats.
But the first story of this anthology film is so already riddled with holes, right? The first one being is there's a crazy old lady on her deathbed,
Right.
has a lawyer come in,
Yeah.
and says, instead of giving my money to my good-for-nothing nephew, who's done nothing but be indifferent about me, I'm going to give it to my 48 cats that I live with. Right. So here's my first problem. How does that work? Like, legally, how does that work? How do you bequeath anything to a cat? Like, legally, that's ridiculous. Secondly, and the lawyer's all like, are you sure you don't want to give your nephew anything? No, just the cats. Oh, all right then. I'll legally write that onto a piece of paper. That's the first thing.
Yeah.
Secondly,
Yeah.
if a lawyer was ever confronted with someone who had 45 cats and wanted to give them her full inheritance,
Yeah.
he would call the RSPCA and be like, this woman is living in a house with 45 cats. That's a massive health risk. Beyond that, we're then confronted with the maid and her nephew, played by Sleazy McSleaze, pencil-thin mustache man who was an extra in a Ripping Yarns once. Right?
Right.
Sitting at a cafe table being like, I'm going to be incredibly rich. And therefore what you have to do is steal the other copy of the will, because she steals one copy of the will out of the guy's bag.
Yeah.
And then he goes, go back and get the other will out of the safe. Because if neither copy of the will exists, well then it defaults to the previous will and I get all the money. And I'm like, the lawyer's still, like the lawyer remembers writing the will. It's not like the lawyer's going to be like, oh, you lost the will. Oh, well we can't enact it then. Like, that's not how wills work.
I don't know enough about that. It might be how wills work, but I don't know for sure. But
Not
you're
if
right.
the lawyer's right there and he just wrote it.
Yeah, well, that's true. I'm sure he would have other methods. But there's things like she needs to steal the will out of the safe. But as you pointed out, just wait till she goes to the bar and go to the safe and nick it. But no, she does it while she's asleep. Then she gets caught, murders the old lady, and then all that she needs to do, right?
She murders the old lady, and while murdering the old lady goes, this was all your nephew's plan. And I'm like, it doesn't mean you have to do it.
Yeah. But then all she needs to do at that point is pick up a piece of paper from the floor and walk out of the building. That's literally, that is all she has to do. These are the stakes.
Yeah.
Right, the one end of the boat to the other. Story here is pick up a piece of paper, walk out of the house. Unfortunately, this is utterly impossible because of some cats. Who every time she bends down to pick up a piece of paper, scratch her hand, and she can find no solution to the problem of some cats scratching her hand.
A glove, wrapping an item of clothing around your hand,
kicking
the cat.
Like the whole movie is predicated on lots of cats are an insolvable problem, but that's simply not true.
Simply not.
You certainly don't need to. Look, my favourite bit is still in terms of like utter. I don't give a shitness from the director. Is she's stranded in a room. She locks the door with like a chair because there's some cats outside, and we cut to them being really disinterested outside. There's like
some
8 of them. Some cats, like 8 cats. We're not talking like hundreds of cats. We're talking 8 cats are kind of milling around the hallway outside the door.
Yeah. Oh, they eat some mail.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah,
They eat a letter.
Oh, yeah, that's weird. And then, after a day, less than a day, it's like the night and then the following day, she's starving hungry, and there's some bread, she eats the bread. Then they cut to some other things, where she's looking through all of the containers and can't find any food, until it's like, oh, she's going to have to eat the cat food. So she opens up the lid, and then she puts the cat food on some bread to eat it. You go, no, just eat the bread.
Yeah, just eat
you
the
don't
bread.
need to put. Is this because you need the protein? Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Jim, what you have to understand is bread is very dry.
It's so weird.
I know. Also, and I'm going to spoil the end of the movie because nobody should ever watch this movie.
Never watch this movie.
The coda to this movie is Peter Cushing is killed by a bunch of cats.
Yeah.
And then in the background, you hear a dog bark.
Yeah.
And the cat runs away. And you're like, right, because we live on if we lived on a planet where cats had no natural predators, I might be able to buy this concept. But literally, all you would have to do is wander down to the same pet shop where they got all these fluffy cats, get a fucking dog, and unleash it into the house. problem solved.
Yeah, good point. Unless you're talking about, but that's true. I mean, I'm not a criminal mastermind, obviously, but...
Right. Or, I don't know, kick a few. Like, that's the other thing. I would have to say this as well.
Nobody kicks a cat
in a movie about lots of evil cats, and I don't even mean like mutated cats, just regular tabby cats. Like the evil one she has on her bed is like this beautiful ginger white, like it's just like a beautiful cat. Like it's not even particularly evil in any way at all. But you would think in a movie like this, at some point, someone would grab a cat off its neck and like when a cat jumps on them, they would grab the cat and like throw it, or they would kick a cat. None of that. Cats are an animal.
People are murdered by cats.
Yeah.
Or a cat
right.
in this film in like 3 seconds.
Yeah.
That's not... That doesn't happen.
No, I know it doesn't happen, but I mean if we...
I'm not saying that. I'm saying there's no way a cat,
right,
even with claws
right.
and its teeth,
yeah.
could murder somebody
right off the bat
in 5 seconds.
Right.
Even if they lay perfectly still. Anyway, it's fucking stupid. But what about Pleasence? How did you feel about Pleasence?
Well, so the 3 stories are: woman wants to bequeath things to cats, other woman tries to get the will, multiple cats kill everybody, kill and eat everybody, right?
Yeah. Story number 1.
Story number 1. And you go, there must be a way out of this. Like what I was saying to Jim is, and I think it's the, and now for something completely different, version of the sketch.
Yeah.
The movie, the Python movie version of the sketch. But there's the old milkman joke sketch from Monty Python where, you know, you see Carol Cleveland being all seductive and beckoning a milkman up to her bedroom like a naughty British housewife, and she's really just locking milkmen in there and they're all old. And then it cuts to a writer, and I think this goes into the funniest joke ever written sketch. I think that's how they blend it together. But it cuts to a writer like Ken Shabby sitting at a table, and the voiceover just goes, and in the room are lots of milkmen, some of whom are very old, right? And then he goes on to some other sketch, right? I just imagine the writer of this movie like that Ken Shabby character, writing the words, and then she enters the room, and in the room are many cats, some of whom aren't happy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I just saw the writer just be like, what does he want me to do? Kill a cat? All right.
I'll say this
There are lots of cats.
There is not a qualifier at the end of the movie that says no animals were harmed during the making of this production, because cats were absolutely harmed in this movie.
They were throwing cats.
They were throwing cats at people. When Cushing, or the stuntman, falls down the steps at the end, he's like rolling over clearly living cats.
Yeah.
For this piece of shit.
Also, the whole principle that Cushing is trying to set up is that cats are evil and we're doing their bidding.
Yeah.
But the 3 stories are cats fight back, basically.
Yeah. That's because the people involved have no imagination or talent.
Right. So
what they've done is they've gone, well, this is why you'd have an author. We're making a movie where there's lots of stories. We'll have Cushing as an author. What could you write a book about? Oh, it's about how cats are secretly in charge. That's clever. All right, what are the stories going to be about? Well, what are horror movies? What happens in movies with cats? Well, cats take revenge when their owners are murdered by nasty people. So to make three versions of that story. They don't even try and tell different stories. It's the same version of every story.
Right.
Cat murders somebody who does their owner wrong.
Yeah.
Even though it's got bugger all to do with Cushing's thesis. And the second one, is it the second one with the...
The second one is a little girl.
Oh, that's the one that like starts off like a Disney movie. And then they hire like everyone involved in that story is the worst actor I've ever seen ever. I know 2 of them are kids, and let's not give kids a kicking, but they dub the kid's voice with somebody who can't act.
Let's give kids a kicking, because kids are awful. If this pandemic has proven anything, it's that everyone fucking hates children. Their own parents fucking hate them. Schools hate them. Everyone fucking hates children. That's what this pandemic
I feel like that's a bold claim, but I'm not gonna...
No, it is. Every time I
hear anything, it's like, oh, the fucking children. I'm like, children must be awful. I'm so glad I never had any.
Yeah, fair enough.
Anyway, John Cross says, everyone hates children. Bold claim. Twitter goes crazy.
You're cancelled, mate.
Heavy in the meme sphere.
You have been cancelled.
I've been cancelled.
You are no longer heavy in the meme sphere.
I'm no longer heavy in the meme sphere. But I will blame it on my mental health, and I will become a mental health influencer, and I will, put...
Please don't become a mental health influencer.
I'll put a lot of inspirational Instagram
I think
stories.
the world's been through enough in the last 2 years without you becoming a mental health influencer.
By the way, this gravy and these potatoes is out of this fucking world.
I can't start. I still got going like toast.
It's so good.
Can I have one of the chip then?
Break some off and dip it in there. So anyway, the second story.
Oh, look, bollocks the second story. The second story is awful. We've still got another movie to go. It's pish. What about Pleasence?
Pleasence and Cushing, which is, to be fair, the reason I bought the movie.
Yeah.
Are the only two shining lights in the whole film. Pleasence was having an absolute...
Oh, wow, that is good.
Yeah. Pleasence was having an absolute ball with this film.
Yeah.
He also didn't
He was having a lot of fun.
He also didn't know why he was there.
No.
But I think he got to keep his costume. That's what I think it is. He wanted that silken pajama robe.
I think he liked the idea of playing a handsome cad.
Yeah.
Because I can't believe he's ever, before or since, played the handsome cad.
No. But in this, he's meant to be like a Errol Flynn type character, even though he's a portly man from Yorkshire. Wearing a ginger toupee.
It is a bold piece of casting.
And a stick-on spiv mustache. Portly Yorkshireman with spiv mustache is apparently dashing Errol Flynn. The best thing about the whole movie is the look. So, in the film, Donald Pleasence and his little segment is on a film set making what seems to be some sort of Edgar Allan Poe-inspired swashbuckling movie. They literally steal the Pit and the Pendulum.
Oh, they do? Yeah, that's right.
Sequence. And in it, it is claimed that Donald Pleasence swaps out the rubber pendulum with a metal one. Where he got a giant metal pendulum from, it is not...
Have you sold any giant metal pendulums lately?
Yeah.
Come to think of it, a balding Yorkshireman came in and asked me if I had any metal pendulums. I said, we've got one left in the back.
Yeah. So, he literally, on a film set, arranges it so that his wife gets sliced in half in full view of everyone by his hand. Next scene, there is a police detective in the producer's office who just goes, don't worry, you can start the film back up again. Goodbye. And that's it. Like, there's no investigation, nothing. Well, I mean, that would slow down the cat-based revenge that takes place.
We don't need to ask any questions about how a rubber pendulum was swapped for a metal pendulum. We don't need to know.
We don't need to know.
Who needs to ask that question?
Right. So, someone should have done, the screenwriter preferably. But anyway, we later find out that this film is riddled with props that are real. Like the Iron Maiden is real.
Right,
the axe that he tries to attack the cat with is real. And as if this film has no safety measures whatsoever. So anyway, Pleasence has done this said killing because he wants to have it away with his wife standing, right?
Oh, is she the official stand-in?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Played by Samantha Egger.
I thought she was already his bit on the side, and he was having. That doesn't make any difference. It's not interesting. It makes no difference. Carry on. I'm sorry.
But the whole plot is she looks exactly like his ex-wife, but younger.
That's right. Yeah.
Right. And when he tells the producer that, he goes, she looks just like Marianne or whatever the name of the woman was, but younger. And then it cuts to a wide shot, and in that wide shot, Pleasence does his best, like, Sid James carry-on, like, Mrs. face and eye roll. He's like, it's just like my wife, but younger. Ooh! Like, he does, like, this sort of, like, wide-eyed
Sid James thing, which just fucking tickled me pink. That's worth the price of this movie.
He is having a lot of fun.
He's having a lot of fun. There's then a lot of confused sequences where he's trying to kill the cat, which he doesn't seem to be able to achieve. He does flush some kittens down the toilet.
That was pretty good because they kind of left that unsaid, but it is pretty clear that he flushes the kittens down the toilet.
Yeah. He manages to kill his girlfriend in said Iron Maiden prop that it has real spikes on it. And you're like, if I was on that film set, I'm sorry, what? You're entrusting the likelihood that the leading actress will not be killed to the doddery hands of a 75-year-old.
Yeah, so don't worry. It can't close and kill people because he's holding this because the actor's holding a rope.
Yeah. That's not how props work.
No. It's not how well written movies work either. In fact, it's not how movies where anybody involved is putting in an ounce of effort.
And he himself is tortured by his ex-wife's cat. And this short story was filled with cat puns. They thought for the climax of the movie they would save all the cat puns to the end. So there's more than one way to skin a cat. And then what happened? The cat's got your tongue, cut to cat, dragging tongue across the floor. Genius level punning by this author. Right?
Yeah. Again, there's literally no way a cat can cut someone's tongue out.
Well, they could bite it out.
Yeah, but I'm not saying they can eat the tongue, but they can't get into the behind the tongue, make a neat incision, and take the entire tongue out to drag it across the floor. That's it doesn't have the tools for that.
Right.
Unless the cat's learn how to use scissors. I just don't see how this works.
But it's also because,
are you serious?
if they were mutant cats or rabid cats, I don't know if cats.
Yeah, or cats that were infected by something from a meteor or something.
Right.
But it doesn't get past the fact that it's sort of like when you finally see the Hand of the Baskervilles and it's obviously a dog
with some glow paint.
On it.
Yeah.
Well, that's just a fucking dog.
Right. I think I know a way out.
Even that is scarier than just a house cat sitting on a chair.
There are scary dogs. I mean, you can dogs are legitimately scary.
That's true. That's why it's better, but you're still disappointed when you see it.
Like you see Cujo, or you see a big hound, or a big like a pit bull or a Rottweiler or whatever. I mean, dogs in real life have been known to kill people.
I am not in dispute with that. I'm just saying the feeling of disappointment.
No one has ever said.
Imagine that, but instead of cutting to a reasonably terrifying animal that could kill you, even if it's an animal you see every day, and instead cut to another animal you see every day, sitting quite contentedly, almost bored on a chair.
Yeah.
Watch out.
Well, that was the other thing, is that they really didn't.
They didn't try to be inventive.
We kept saying that the score for this movie did all the heavy work, because every time it cut to something that the producers thought was scary, the composer leant on his keyboard. So every time it cut to a cat, the composer went like there was a big scare chord, but that kept happening. So it was sort of just relentless nonsense, and you have to have more than that. You know what I mean? There has to be more to it than just.
There was absolutely nothing to it.
Right. But Cushing and Pleasence were.
Cushing was good, and Pleasence was having a ball. You couldn't ask for more from them. They did everything they could.
And a double wig roll for Pleasence.
Oh yeah, and they even
he had a wig on top of a wig.
Yeah, and he even acknowledged that, right? Because he was combing it himself. That was quite neat. So don't watch the Uncanny. So what about? So the next one is.
Why is it called the Uncanny?
I haven't got a fucking clue.
Because it's uncanny how shit it is. Yeah. I have no idea why.
I don't know. I really don't know. They don't explain it. It's not part of the Ted Hughes quote.
No.
Which I had to read 3 times. I sort of know what that means.
Yeah, I didn't read it.
And I like Ted Hughes.
I don't even know who he is.
He was a poet. He was married to Sylvia Plath.
Oh, okay. Well, you're the resident After Movie Diner poet, so.
That's true. I am the only one.
I'm just just a poor lyricist.
That's true.
You, on the other hand, are
That's true. No, that's fair.
You could have come back and said, I'm a better lyricist than I'm a mediocre lyricist. You could have at least upped it
You're a
from
mediocre.
poor
Yeah, you're
lyricist.
right. You're a mediocre lyricist. That's
you.
fair.
Thank you. That's better. That's better. I acknowledge that wholeheartedly. New album out now called Nope, and another album out called Snow's Farm.
How are the lyrics?
Both out. Mediocre.
Cool.
But if you're
At least you know what you're getting.
Want anything else?
I think that's probably it for me.
in a way, I kind of want another round of steak fries.
If you want another round of steak fries, it's all right with me.
Yeah, can I get another round of steak fries and a bit more gravy?
Thank you.
Yeah, I kind of want that. Do you mind?
No, that's fine.
Did you want more toast?
No.
Seeing how much you love the toast.
I did love the toast, but I don't want to overrate the
toast pudding.
the toast pudding. But
And bread pudding is a thing.
I was just thinking that.
Oops, sorry. I wasn't ready. I was busy pickling some fish. I like pickling things. Fish, vegetables, running shoes. Anyway. Apologies. We sadly have to pause for some ads. Maybe if more of you supported us on Patreon. But there it is. The After Movie Diner doesn't endorse any of these advertisers. We don't even know what you're going to hear. It's forced technical AI wizardry. And don't fool yourself. None of us are in control. The robots are coming, and they want to sell us insurance.
So the second movie was House of Usher. And I want you to talk about this one.
Okay.
Because I did a lot of talking, and I'm kind of tired of my own voice.
That's fine.
And this is the last ever After
It's
Movie
our
Diner.
last ever
You
After
should
Movie Diner.
step up your game, mate. Your game is lacking.
But I think the point is, this is one of the last ever things. It's like, yeah, they should probably put it out of its misery. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're not going out with a bang here. This is very much a whimper situation.
Yeah, this is very much like a...
I am the whimper.
What do you want for nothing? 2 Pleasence movies no one's ever heard of and nobody cares about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That would be my nickname on your bowling team, would be the whimper.
You wouldn't be bum-faced.
I mean, I could be bum-faced. But I quite like the whimper.
You know what I should be? I should be the plumber. Because of miscellaneous plumbing fixtures.
I really think
should be the plumber.
that's very much you making up a nickname for yourself.
Yeah.
That sounds cool.
The bus boy. Because of After Movie Diner. Diners have buses, table buses.
No, I understand.
I can be
I just don't think it's very good.
Okay.
Just, you shouldn't make up nicknames for yourself.
All right.
You know what I mean?
I do now.
I just feel that's important. You can't.
All right. Anyway, talk about this damn movie.
All right. So,
I hope people, by the way, I hope as we get to the middle of this episode,
we're an hour in.
that people have missed this kind of, not only this repartee, but also this background noise. Everyone
Yeah,
always
the
says,
background noise, yeah.
Like,
The Foley.
for the last 2 years, I've continued to do episodes, and all I've heard is, well, I much preferred the ones that were in the diner. And I'm like, fuck you. There's been a fucking international pandemic going on, and fuck you if you think I'm going to... Like, what did you want me to do? Like, just put Foley noise of people clinking shit?
I like the part
talking
where halfway
loudly?
through the podcast you choose to insult the listenership.
Well, I'm just pissed that, I tried my damned hardest to keep the show going, and all I get is well, it's not as good as the ones where you and Jim bicker like a married couple in a diner with lots of background noise.
So you're saying they should suspend their value judgment?
I'm just saying, download an episode more often, you bastards.
That's fair. I think it's a fair comment to make.
Anyway, this is the last ever episode. No one's listening to it. Anyway, carry on.
If they've got this far, I'll be impressed.
Yeah. What was the film called?
The House of Usher.
The House of Usher.
Now, I liked The House of Usher,
Right.
even though it was bad.
It was very bad.
I liked it because somebody thought to themselves,
Yeah.
I think, somebody thought to themselves, that music videos in the 80s have a certain kind of spooky
insanity.
What's the word? Like grand guignol? What's the phrase?
That's French theatre full of blood. But
yeah, but like that kind of operatic horror kind of feel to them, with like smoke and like thriller and all that kind of stuff. Right?
Yeah.
So we could use that aesthetic, and make a whole actual horror.
No one ever thought that.
No, these people did. That's what I'm saying. They did.
No.
That's what it looks like it does.
They said Cousin Doug has a run on styrofoam.
No, that's what the people who the producer came to and went, listen, we need a haunted castle and you've got 10 quid.
Yeah.
That's when the Cousin Doug has some polystyrene out the back that, you know, that he's already painted blue. Is that all right?
Yeah.
He's already painted it blue.
We got some blue polystyrene and some black polystyrene, and it's not painted the best, but you could probably slap it up on the wall. And if you lit it a certain way, no one would notice. And the director was like, oh no, I'm going to light it very bright indeed. Isn't it meant to be a haunted castle? It is meant to be a haunted castle, but I'm just going to do flat television lighting.
But look. This is what I like about it.
Right.
It is much, much harder to build a castle out of polystyrene than it is just to film in a fucking castle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is just harder. So I admire the work ethic.
The way they did it, it wasn't harder. I mean, the way
it was. It was. They had like statues, and
this set
the place
like
had an aesthetic.
If someone came to me, right,
I'm not having you badmouth the set designers on this film. They deserved some kind of an award.
1,500 quid and a room.
I'm not
a room
hear
at Shepperton Studios. Make it look like a castle.
I'm not going to hear it.
I dropped a bunch of acid and painted a bunch of styrofoam blue half-assedly.
I'm telling you,
not even well painted, just half-assedly.
I'm telling you, the people who made the set deserve an award.
For the worst set.
No, because they built something that was it had castles and gargoyles and gothic statues, and it obviously took a lot of work to try and make a castle out of styrofoam with no money.
It was balsa wood.
And they could have, you've got to admit, right? I'm just saying, if you had no money, and you only had polystyrene, and you had to build a castle,
and you had all of
no way you do better than this. No way. No. You could do a lot worse.
Oh, I don't know. You could do a lot worse.
You can, yes, you could.
No.
I'm telling you.
I mean, the only way to do a lot worse, you could give it to a bunch of ADD kids with a bunch of finger paints and say, "Go paint that." I mean, that would be worse.
I thought it was splendid.
No, it was.
I thought they worked really, really hard and came out with something that what they don't get is that in a music video, somebody running down a polystyrene castle hall, right, while like Depeche Mode music plays or whatever, it's fine, right? That's fine because it's just like 2 seconds of a music video, and then you cut to the band, you know, in some smoky ruins or whatever, playing the song. So that's fine, but you can't have a whole movie where it's only the styrofoam. No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, but that's what I liked about it. Right. It was like,
and where hairdressing exactly like played a major.
What was? I still don't get
the hairdressing.
Like what's the thing? The
over the head hairdryer.
The over the head hairdryer thing. It's implied. Yeah. It's implied that she brought it with her
from America.
Right, from America for a weekend to the country.
In her luggage.
She brought it with. Except it wasn't in the car, and it was a small car. And the only purpose I can only assume they were like, we'll use that later. There's got to be something we can do with that. And in the end, it was just. Someone had their head cut off and they put her in the chair and put that over it. It's like, oh, I've got a head. It's like, but you don't. The shock of it turning around and them not having a head is not. Like adding the hairdryer from it, like adds nothing to it. And it just, it's like castle, bed, like her room is like, there's a big bed, there's some statues, there's a painting, there's like a weird dressing table. Oh yeah, over the corner there's an over the head 1970s hairdryer. It was so weird.
And bonkers.
I liked it.
It was mad.
The only thing I didn't like about it was that she was awful.
She was awful.
And
because she's meant to be the damsel in distress. So without going too deep into all of the different plot points, because it's really not.
Every time you say that, you go deep into all the plot points. I want you to know that. Strap yourselves in, you're going to be for a bumpy ride.
The Usher family are beset with illness and madness.
Yeah.
In a crumbling old English castle.
Yes.
2 vapid, bland Americans who are somehow related to them.
Not to each other.
No, not to each other, but to the House of Usher. Are coming to visit their uncle, Roderick, played by Oliver Reed. Magnificent.
He is great.
As they get close to the castle, two ghost children appear, making the ponytailed brother of Jeff.
Never explained.
The ponytailed brother of Jeff Fahey, the Don Swayze to Jeff Fahey, crashes the car. She knows he's still alive, but can't get him out of the car. She runs to the castle. They sedate her, and everyone's very weird, right? She's also told that she can't wear bright colours, even though the castle is bright blue, and the stained glass is bright yellow, bright pink,
and he wears bright red.
And he wears bright blue and bright red. So you can't wear bright colours because Roderick can't handle it, unless I suppose he's wearing them or he's painting the walls of his castle bright fucking blue. And you can't wear perfume or eat highly scented food like salt.
Or salt.
Like salt.
Or put salt in your food.
Because that will also...
Or even put salt in the food in the kitchen.
Right.
Because she's saying it's really bland.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's really bad. I don't want to get hung up on the whole salt.
I mean, all of it's weird.
Yeah.
Right. Oliver Reed whispers the whole thing, right? We find he's having such a ball.
But I've never seen somebody ham it up with whispers. I've never seen somebody whisper ham before.
He was whispering gammon.
Yeah,
is what he was. He was pure whispered gammon. Donald Pleasence plays his brother.
Okay, there's the side of gravy, but the steak fries are on the bottom, so I'll be right back.
No worries. Donald Pleasence plays his mad brother, who at first seems to be an invalid who wants to help the lady escape, and then later turns out to be a crate.
Who's also, let's not forget,
thank you very much.
Thank you. He's also discovered the. Thanks, man. Discovered the.
That's still really hot.
The solution to perpetual motion. He's basically created a perpetual motion energy machine.
Drill bit on his hand, which is not plugged into anything.
It's not plugged into anything, and it never stops.
Never stops.
No. It's powered by dramatic necessity.
Yeah. So yeah, he has a drill bit for a hand. We don't know why. Right. And it's never established why. And they have entombed the Jeff Fahey uglier brother in a polystyrene tomb, which the actors make heavy work of anytime they have to pretend to be shifting around some polystyrene.
They all need to go to how to pick up things that are light but pretend that they're heavy school.
Oh yeah, either that or
they all get an F.
Either that or they went there but didn't learn anything.
Yeah.
Because they all make incredibly heavy work of trying to convince us all that what they're trying to move is stone. Even though later in the movie, an entire stone wall, if we're to suspend belief and believe that the styrofoam is stone, an entire stone wall falls on top of our heroine to nary a scratch, nary even a reaction. I mean, no response whatsoever. And in fact, she is the damsel in distress throughout the movie, has all sorts of horrible things happen to her and her boyfriend, yet barely reacts at any point. At one point, she runs past a wall that appears to be made out of bin bags, and a bunch of hands burst through the bin bags and grab her.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
Because that's suggesting... Because thinking about it, there's nothing supernatural happening in the house.
There is. The ghostly children.
Oh yeah, the ghostly children. But the ghostly children, like where they actually have the line, oh no, that can't be them. They've been dead for 100 years. Again, that's fucking weird. But I'm saying the house itself is not like, yes, like scary ghost children turn up. And by the way, lead her.
They try to help.
Actually, I guess they do lead her to a boyfriend, so I guess that makes sense.
They try to help her.
Yeah, that's right.
Even though they also caused the crash.
Yeah.
And one of them wears an incredibly oversized sweater vest.
Yeah. Yeah.
The woman...
I'm just saying, right at the end of the movie, like, hands burst out of a, like, weird membrane and try and strangle her. You go, wait, we're not in a haunted house thing. It's
right.
Like... Do you know what I mean? It's just like a weird...
Yeah.
It's fine. I mean, it's fine. It's all bollocks, so that's fine.
It's all...
Pleasence is having fun.
Pleasence is having tons of fun.
And I like the idea of him being a mirror. I mean, I don't know what happens in the House of Usher, but I'm assuming...
At one point, they strap a man down naked to
That
the
was
table
so weird.
and stick a rat on his cock.
Yeah. It was so weird to see more cock than boobs in a horror film.
There was no boobs.
It was zero boobs.
Zero boobs, and yet we did see rat penis. Well, rat on penis.
Yeah, rat on penis.
Rat on penis.
Yeah.
And it was so annoying because later in the movie you saw a couple of rats scurrying around, and I really wanted one of them to be carried.
That would have been funny.
That would have been amazing.
That would have been funny. Yeah. Again.
Can I get a small one? That'd be great. Thank you.
Again, the movie would have benefited from a co-producer credit.
By me. Oh.
So how do you rate Pleasence?
Well, you need to because I can't gather the energy to be positive about this film.
Well, it's not that I'm positive. I liked the aesthetic of it. I like that they worked really, really hard to try and give it a unique feel with the polystyrene and the aesthetic of the paintings and the statues. And they had a really weird statue at the bottom of the stairs. It was supposed to be one of those big sweeping, like, manor house staircases. Like it wasn't. They didn't have the money. But they had a statue at the bottom of it that was. It's sort of like I'm trying to think of the sculptor, but it's like a really fat bloke.
Yeah, it was meant to be like one of those Renaissance.
Yeah. But it was basically a really big fat bloke, like in the nude, showing off his junk, going, "Well, hey, look at this!" Kind of like that was his pose and his expression, which is just deeply weird. Yeah. So stuff like that I really, really liked. I thought Oliver Reed. I liked it.
You really liked that.
Yeah, I liked the statues, and I liked the skulls, the paintings of the skulls with the snakes going through the eyes that were clearly painted the day before.
Yeah.
And like it's been, the secret crypt that's been here for hundreds of years. Somebody painted those yesterday, and they didn't even.
Lazy.
And they didn't. Not lazy. They just didn't have any time or money.
They didn't give.
Look, you got a day. We're starting filming tomorrow, and you still haven't done the skulls with the snakes in them.
They didn't even give the snakes heads.
I know, Thomas, because they didn't have any time.
Wiggly green lines.
You've got no empathy for the set designers of this movie. I have nothing but empathy for them.
No.
And I celebrate a job well done, given the time constraints and the money budget that they
You
had.
have no idea what the time constraints and the money budget were. You are hypothesizing based on this.
They didn't have any money. They didn't have any money.
They had Oliver Reed and Donald Pleasence.
Oliver Reed at this point would have worked for peanuts. And Pleasance is just like, it's a day's work, I'll do it.
Right. Do I get to wear a wig?
Right. They had no money.
Pleasence was kind of the Nicolas Cage of his era.
Yeah, he was a little bit.
It was like, can I do a day's work on this movie? Can I have ridiculous hair? Yes and yes. Done. I'm in your film.
I think that makes sense to me.
Yeah. And Oliver Reed, I'm going to whisper hand. The whispering
But that's
hand.
what I mean. Like, the reason I liked it is that if he doesn't care,
right,
then you ham it up and you just yell a lot and you just get it over and done. You can't be bothered to think about it. But he's doing whispering ham because I think he's really trying.
right.
He's having fun, but he is really trying to be. Like he obviously feels like, well, this is
The Whispering Hand.
This is an Edgar Allan Poe movie. Like, it's a classic or whatever.
What's amazing is this film director, despite being devoid of any talent, went on to
I'm
make...
not sure that's true.
No, he is devoid of any talent.
I'm not sure that's true.
He is devoid of any talent.
I'm not sure that's true.
It's the same filmmaker behind
Can we
the
just
1970s...
Can we just please compare him? For no talent, I give you the Uncanny. That is no talent.
Right.
But the things with...
but I will say this.
Okay.
The Uncanny, at least where it counts, had some cinematography, some lighting, some shadows, some dark.
I don't deny that the cinematography was better on the first one, maybe. Only because they obviously filmed outside in rear houses, and it's difficult not to do something interesting when you're filming in an actual house. This was clearly filmed on a set made out of polystyrene. And that's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to make a film noir out of polystyrene.
Not if you like it, right?
Look, I'm not saying the guy is talented.
Right.
I'm not saying he's not deficient in several key areas.
Right.
But I still thought it was fun. I thought the pacing was pretty good. I think there were bits that didn't make any sense. Like,
do you know what he was originally?
What?
He was an Australian horse wrangler on movies.
Really?
Yeah. And then he moved to the UK and did a bunch of TV work. Worked with like early ITV and early BBC stuff and whatever. Right? All of which, as we know back then, late 60s, early 70s, TV was massively shonky. Shaky sets, no shadows in the lighting, just theatre lights basically. Because most TV shows were just filmed proscenium stages, and then he does a film in 1978 called Killer's Moon, the plot of which, and I'm not kidding, is 4 escaped lunatics.
I like it so far.
Dressed like the characters out of A Clockwork Orange.
Very derivative.
Think they're dreaming.
Wait, is 1978 out after Clockwork Orange? Okay.
About 10 years, almost 10 years old.
Really?
Yeah.
Clockwork Orange is 68. I thought it was like mid-70s.
69, 70, I think it is.
Oh, okay. I thought that was 2001 was 68, 69.
Clockwork Orange is mid-70s. I could be wrong. I'm probably wrong. You're usually right about these things.
It's 1971 at Clockwork Orange.
All right, split the difference.
Yeah. 1971 Clockwork Orange. So, 1978, 4 escaped lunatics dressed somewhat like Alex and his Drugs from Clockwork Orange think they're dreaming.
Okay.
And come across a broken down busload of schoolgirls, private schoolgirls.
Okay.
That's the plot.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
And run with it.
Right. Okay. And I'm assuming, judging by your opinion of his direction, that it's not good.
It's entertaining in a 1970s shot on the moors, an attempt at a British exploitation grindhouse movie. Okay. So it's grim. You probably wouldn't. It's like kind of grim, very like rapey and violent and whatever. But like, there's weird people. I read a review of it earlier on IMDb where someone was like, "Of course, there's the moral quandary at the center of Killer's Moon, which is, are the escaped lunatics really to blame if they think they're dreaming?" And I'm like, yes. I mean, there was no one else there like raping and killing the school children. So anyway, that's his calling card, because it gets embroiled in the whole British video nasties and all that kind of stuff. Not that it was never.
But this was very not. I mean, there's a bit where the woman's head's like cut off, but
since then,
it's not very exploitation.
No, since then he jumps from like bad movie to bad movie, writes on a few films, and then decides, those Vincent Price, Roger Corman, Edgar Allan Poe films that are considered, quintessential at this point.
Yeah, like Hammer remade Universal. I can see how that goes. Like, he thinks, well, Hammer remade. He's like, I've got all this
styrofoam.
It's
the late 80s. I'll remake House of Usher and Mask of the Red Death. I won't know why I'm doing it or how to do it, but I do have Oliver Reed's Alcoholic Anonymous telephone number, and Donald Pleasence will work for chips. So
how did you feel about so Pleasence? Which was the better Pleasence movie? I mean, it's got to be.
Oh, that's tricky.
House of Usher, right?
Well, what's the better movie overall, or what is better?
No, what's the better? If you're going to say to people, which is the better Pleasence performance?
Oh, the Uncanny.
Really?
Yes.
You didn't like him when he's like dancing around with the
I
drill?
did like it, but I also felt like I'd seen it.
I've never seen him play a psycho killer before.
I felt like I wanted to see more of him relishing it. I didn't feel like he was relishing it.
Yeah, I can
enough.
see that. I see what you're saying. Because he goes from being like
next to Oliver Reed.
They could have played that up a little more, I think.
The whole "I'm your vision of your future" type thing.
No, I mean that was cool. No, the whole idea of he's the kindly guy that's gonna like be her ticket out kind of a thing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it ends up that he's like actually insane and he's gonna kill everybody.
Right.
He was already kind of like creepy old man weirdo to begin with, and like you'd have to be nuts to trust this bloke.
Right.
And then in the end, yes, it turns out he's a guy. So there wasn't much of a twist, because I think the twist is supposed to be presumably.
But it doesn't make any sense.
No, that's true.
Because he says, so
can we talk about how little sense the ending makes?
Oliver Reed wants the Usher line to continue. So his big plot is murder the one person who is continuing the Usher line, his nephew. Murder him. Like, I want the Usher line to continue, but murder him. I mean, murder.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
Him. And impregnate his wife. I mean, surely that makes sense. Even though I'm a mad old man riddled with illness in his 70s, there's no, like, chance that this will take. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's no chance this plan can go wrong.
No, but I'm just saying, like, yes, men have had children into their 70s, but not like bloated, illness-riddled, I get a headache every time someone puts salt on my food. Mad people. You know, all I'm saying is that's a crapshoot, whereas encouraging encouraging the nephew and her to get married and have babies, that makes more sense. But killing the nephew and then trying to impregnate her.
No, I agree. It was total nonsense.
Mad. But he wants to continue the Usher line.
Yes.
Pleasence wants to end the Usher line. Right?
Yes. Yeah, that's the
thing.
conflict.
However, Pleasence succeeds in killing the only two people in the house who are not of the Usher line. The woman and the butler's wife and her child, who have done nothing to Pleasence whatsoever.
Yeah, that's fair.
He could have killed Oliver Reed.
Okay, look, can I be honest?
He could have killed Oliver Reed.
Can I be honest?
He could have killed the dog.
I liked it for the first 20 minutes because I liked the polystyrene set.
Because it looked like a bad AC/DC music video.
Yeah. I liked the sets. I liked Oliver Reed. I liked the idea. I have a very strong. What's the word?
Are you eating the rest of it?
No. A very strong.
Tolerance for bullshit?
No.
Hence why you've done this show with me.
A weakness. I have a weakness for. I mean, weakness is not the right word. Although maybe it is in the case of this movie.
I mean,
I'm very, very fond of films where someone comes to a crumbling mansion where the family that lives in it are all mad.
Right.
I'm very fond of those movies.
And
that's what this movie is, right? Right. And then for that crumbling mansion to be made out of purple polystyrene, where clearly a lot of effort has been put in the same way that in the same way that you admire like
no effort.
You know, like, okay, you know when you do a play at school and they have like a prop room somewhere and it's got like old props from years, like, and you can't help but be impressed by, even if it's like a crap polystyrene gargoyle or whatever, you still think, that's pretty cool, somebody made that.
Right, because it's
was
a
on
high
a stage.
school theatre department.
Right, but I'm saying that level of admiration is what I had for the set for this
high
movie.
School theatre
but
production.
You're right, she's awful. None of the decisions she makes make any sense. The stakes are like that her boyfriend is locked up in a grave, but she doesn't really try and do anything about it.
No, she runs
it goes
around the
completely
wall.
off the rails. Reed's plan makes no sense. And then can we talk about like what I felt was so
weird and bad an ending that I could almost feel like the slap mark on my face.
Right.
Right?
I also have to
Isn't
say
it like deeply weird to end the movie that way?
that after the Uncanny, this was by far the better movie and more enjoyable to watch.
Yes.
Because once it starts, it just keeps going.
Yeah.
And while it's totally mad, makes no sense, and you can pick holes in it, and it's in a crumbling house of polystyrene.
Yeah.
Right? And you really want Oliver Reed at the point at the end when the house is completely falling apart for him to go, curses, I should not have built my castle out of polystyrene and balsa wood. But I did. So there you go. That's also sinking into a marsh, because it's also apparently the swamp castle from Holy Grail.
I know, you can't have a movie where one of the things is like sinking into the swamp.
Yeah.
Because you can't help but keep thinking about that line.
No, that's
not. We get the check, right?
I will get the check.
Thank you very much. Is that what we do? Do we ask for the check?
Yes.
Okay.
But I pay for it after that.
Okay. Can we talk about the ending?
But it was tons of fun. The ending doesn't make a lick of sense.
I just don't get. So, the end, she escapes the house is on fire, and then right at the end, Reed jumps out of the window. Right. And at that point, it cuts to them driving up to the house, like they'd driven before.
Instead of saying go straight ahead, she says turn around, women's intuition.
Yeah, so they go straight ahead, women's intuition, let's turn around. And the kids walk up afterwards smiling, like, oh, we saved them from that terrible fate. Except that they're trying to get to the house.
Right.
When they're in the car, the purpose of them being in England and in the house is to drive to the House of Usher.
Yes.
So even if what they're saying is the magical ghost children somehow turned back time, which, they don't need to do, because they both lived. Oh no, he died, didn't he? Okay, I guess there's that. But anyway, even if the ghost children...
No, I think it's meant to imply that the whole movie was like the flash of intuition she had.
Fuck off. Really?
Yeah, I think it's meant to be that the whole movie...
But she says women's intuition before.
No, I know. But I think that the whole movie is meant to be like the unerring sense that she has at the very end of the movie, where she's like, we probably shouldn't keep going. So let's just turn around. I think that the whole movie is meant to be like something that happens in her mind that makes her feel...
That can't be true. That can't be right, because... That would make sense if she didn't say women's intuition the first time. It would make sense in two ways. One, if she didn't say women's intuition the first time, because then it's making the point, oh, I guess that was all a dream. And secondly, if they weren't trying to, even when they turn around, that's still trying to find the house, which means it's all going to happen. So actually, it's a curse.
Right.
They're clearly cursed to keep going back to this house and have the same thing happen over and over again, regardless of the spooky Victorian dress children at the beginning, and now they're in modern dress, but they're still spooky children and smiling at saving them from a fate, but also sending them back to it. It was just weird because it was
well, you didn't know how to end it.
Yeah.
He edited the film. He got to 90 minutes.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
He was like, I don't know how to end this. I've got Oliver Reed jumping through a window.
And I have nothing after that.
And then he's like, wait, do we have that alternate take that we have from the beginning of the movie where she said turn around instead of go straight on? And the editor's like, woke up. Like the editor was nudged awake. And he goes, yeah, I think I've got something. And he's like, great, just tack that on to the end of the movie.
Yeah, you're right.
And the editor was like...
No, because the
editor was like,
because the kids walk up and smile.
And the director went, I don't care, I'm off to get a latte. That's what happened.
Can I get a latte? I mean, you're right. That's absolutely what happened. They didn't know how to end it. But it's so... That does actually encapsulate the whole problem with the movie.
I have to say, this
I like
even
the
for
theory.
New York City, and we're in Connecticut, this is the busiest diner at midnight that I've ever been in.
Yeah, we've definitely come at an unusual time, haven't we?
Yeah. No, but even without the prom people, there's still like tons of people here.
Yeah, well, I was curious about it. I assumed coming to a diner in rural Connecticut at midnight would be almost empty, and yet the car park was packed, and there were loads of people people in here.
I mean, it's right by
and
the
then all the
freeway.
kids started arriving.
It's right by the freeway, so people might pull off to go to a diner rather than go to a McDonald's.
I guess, yeah. I mean, the food is terrific.
The food's terrific. It got high marks from the Jim Wallace.
Yeah, the toast was unbelievable.
I want there to be a Yelp review for this place that just says the toast was unbelievable.
Because that was it. You'd be like, is that good or bad?
Is that good or bad?
Do you know what I mean?
Because is it? The toast.
Excuse me, your toast is unbelievable.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I literally can't believe.
that
this is toast.
That's toast.
Yeah.
I can't believe it's not toast.
Nice.
No, I definitely preferred the House of Usher, and I like the House of Usher because it was nonsense.
Whenever you're ready.
Great.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Because it was complete nonsense. I mean, it was just nonsense.
I wanted to come here and watch weird, stupid movies with you.
Yeah.
And the first one, I could not stop being tickled by the fact that not just that cutting to pictures of comfortable looking cats on chairs is not scary, but how little the director cared that obviously it wasn't working. So I was too late now. Do you know what I mean? So we've got to keep going.
We've already invested, Jim, in the killer cat concept.
I mean, it's just he's filming it and he's got to be thinking, well, this doesn't work.
Right.
In no way does this work.
Right.
None of this is scary.
Right.
Doesn't care.
No.
Hates people. Hates cinema. Do you know what I mean? Hates the art form. Hates himself. He hates us. He hates cats.
Okay, here's the burning question of the night. Because I get why Pleasence does it. I get why Cushing does it, etc., etc.
Why do we do it?
No, I know why we do it. Okay. We hate ourselves and people.
We hate your ears.
We might hate people more than we hate ourselves, but we hate ourselves as well. There's a deep loathing there. Anyway, I get why most people do it. Why did John Vernon show
I don't know.
up
I
with a
see what you're
silk
saying.
scarf and a hat?
I don't know.
And speak in a weird Bolivian accent or Bulgarian
Yeah, I could
accent
only
or
see
whatever
he was
accent it
available.
But you fly him out to Montreal to appear in 3 scenes where he says 2 lines.
Maybe he's got a thing about cats.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't discount your blackmail theory.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I think John Vernon was on the hook to this guy for something.
Yeah.
I think John Vernon, he has... I don't know what it is. I honestly don't know what it could be.
I mean, I guess my point is that I liked the first one because the cat thing never stopped being inexplicable.
He has photographs
Do you know what I mean?
of nude John Vernon.
With cats.
With cat. Oh! To bring it back to a very, very early After Movie Diner episode with Matt Ringler. Seeing as this is the last ever episode.
Seeing this is it.
We should do our greatest hits.
Okay.
And by greatest hits, I'm talking about an obscure reference that no one will remember.
Okay.
Way back when we did a movie, and I'm going to forget which one it was.
It's you and me, or you and someone
I think it was Brannigan, Matt Ringler and I.
Okay.
And in it, John Vernon was in either a sauna or a hot tub. I can't remember which. But we coined the phrase "the sweaty Vernon" at that time. I think this director had photographs of the sweaty Vernon for real and was threatening to unleash them unless he showed up in a ridiculous trilby hat and a silk scarf for 5 minutes and said 3 lines in a Bulgarian accent.
It was very weird. It was very weird. The whole thing was... But that's why I liked it, because I couldn't stop being surprised by how bad...
The Uncanny was.
The Uncanny was.
I mean...
No, just how bad the idea of cutting to pictures of cats was scary.
We only watched it tonight, and I cannot for the life of me remember what happened in the 2 little girl middle story. I couldn't tell you what happened.
I could vaguely remember that it was...
There was an aeroplane that apparently blew up.
That was weird. Yeah, it was all bad. But I guess my point is that...
The cat was called Washington.
I wanted us to go to the archive and find weird movies, and we did that.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed The House of Usher, even though it was bad. it was at least
this
interesting.
This is the most similar to finding those 3 awful British horror movies and still gamely doing episodes on them.
Yes.
We gamely did episodes on these 2 Pleasence movies, with the flimsiest of links being Donald Pleasence was in them.
Yeah, but that was enough.
Yeah.
It's good enough for me.
Yeah.
All right. Well, shall we...
Oh, and again, British horror films.
Yeah.
I mean, one was a
Yeah, but I think it tracks. That works. So should we put a lid on the Last Ever Diner?
So this is the Last Ever After Movie Diner?
It's not.
It is.
It's not.
It is.
It's not. It's not.
It is. I'm trying to build some controversy.
What's the controversy?
I don't know. That people won't want it to end somehow, and that their enthusiasm for our BS will somehow make us.
Well, I think that enthusiasm came out with the phone messages.
I know, but I think I don't know. I think I've lost enthusiasm for it.
Well, you're not going to get it back by you having to fool yourself.
I'm getting back. I would get it back if people told me how great I was repeatedly for like a week.
Then I don't think it's coming back.
It's never happening. So this is the last ever episode.
Okay.
I want to say a huge thank you to you for coming to Connecticut and doing this. I want to say a huge thank you for being the unlikely rudder that steered this wobbly ship many years since the 2nd anniversary.
Thanks,
so 8
man.
years.
8 years.
Because I couldn't. It would have ended a lot sooner without you.
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed.
I want to say thank you for all the memories that it gave me of a great New York life.
Well, yeah, I have lots of fond memories about living in London, obviously.
Yeah.
But in terms of living in New York, definitely the meeting you once a week, walking for like an hour, a long, long way to a cinema down in the village, like through Midtown, 14th Street, Union Square, just, especially in the summer when it was beautiful and there was people out and there were stalls and it was just fantastic. And then going to a cinema, watching a weird movie, and then finding an even weirder diner, and it was just great. And I consider that a fundamental part of my whatever my future is, of that period of my life, and I value it enormously. And thank you for doing it.
Eras have to end.
Because all I did was turn up, talk bollocks, and then fuck off. You're the one that built the website and edited the episodes and put them up and did all the promotion.
Eras have to end.
They do.
The 60s couldn't have continued. You know what I mean?
That's true. Very sage.
You know what I mean?
It's one of the reasons I left London, was because I felt like this era is ending. It's coming to an end.
And I have to say that the only thing that I routinely miss about New York is doing our episodes.
Yeah.
I don't miss anything else. I occasionally miss the live music that Kim and I used to go to, because the neighborhoods we used to live in, you could either go to like a small club and see a relatively well-known but not crazy well, like a cult act come through and see like some good music, or you could just go down to a local bar and there might be like a local band you've never heard of playing. I miss that, but in general, but not that much. Like,
yeah, you can get that elsewhere.
That's a young man's game to some extent.
Lots of cinemas, showing lots of different weird movies, where every week you could see another weird movie in another weird cinema while living in the same place.
Where I am right now, there are 3 cinemas within 20 minutes.
Oh, that's good.
One of whom is a big AMC. One of whom is like a small 2-screen local, like, cinema that shows like one Hollywood and one art house. And then the other one, which just reopened in Bethel, is like a 5-screen cinema. And at the moment they're showing new releases because they want to kind of like, but they want to go back to showing like indie films, rare films, do double bills, that kind
That's very cool.
cool.
So, like, even where I am now, I haven't lost that. Plus,
Well, we could do that next time I come up. We could actually go to the cinema, right?
Yeah, we go to the cinema.
But we should do it. If they start showing weird movies again, then we should come up. I mean, I'll do a mainstream thing. Sometimes I seeing mainstream things is fun.
Right. Plus, we've got the archive. Plus, I've got a comic book shop right on my doorstep. A second-hand record store right on my doorstep. Like, I found my things. Like, I have my creature comforts here. So, I've not gone too far from it.
No.
But no, I miss that about New York.
Me too, man.
But I love the community, and I love the memories that I have and the friends that I've made from doing the podcast, and I love the community that we built during the podcast. But
it's time for it to end.
well, because but social media now is not what it was even 3 years ago. And being on there to try and nurture some community to continue this does me more harm than good. It
Yeah, I
just
can
does.
see that.
It
I
just
can
does
see
me
that.
more harm than good. And I don't really want to be a part of it anymore.
That's fair. All right.
We made it to 10 years. How much
On that
more,
bombshell.
How much more do people
On
want?
that bombshell,
Yeah.
we will end it forever. Not really. We'll end it like the Bourne Ultimatum.
What?
You know, like,
People going, I hope they don't make any more of them.
and then they did, and it was very good.
Yeah.
I love those movies. I love the Bourne trilogy.
Right. You get to the end of the Bourne trilogy, you're like, that's enough.
Yeah, I don't need another.
That's enough Matt Damon fighting with a rolled up newspaper or whatever in a shower store
love those movies.
or whatever. Like, that's enough. Like, no, but 3 movies of that's enough. Unlike Taken, where by the second scene of the second movie you're like, oh, this is already too much. I can't believe they're going to go on and make a third one. The Bourne Ultimatum eked out of its trilogy, and then you're like, good, done. And then they made 2 more. And you're like,
Well, the one they made.
they made the prequel with Jeremy Renner. Was that a prequel or was that a sequel?
No, it was a sequel, but it was about like within the world of the Bourne. It didn't work because it was all about like medication,
And then they did another one with Matt Damon.
which was just not good.
Right.
I mean, the Renner one wasn't bad actually. It wasn't bad. It was
But I'm
just
ending this.
a different movie.
We're
You
now
should.
going off about something else.
Sorry.
The After Movie Diner.
Bye.
The After Movie Diner is no more, and it's going to end as it began.
In a diner.
No, we weren't even in a diner for the first episode.
I know.
It's going to end
This is being
as it
accurate.
began. Obscure, irrelevant, and smelly.
Yeah.
All right, so there it is. There it was. There it has been. So I guess write to us or send us a voicemail to let us know how you feel about it, or comment on social or do something like that. I've only been asking for 10 years. So, so write to us, email aftermoviediner@gmail.com or hello@aftermoviediner.com. Call us at 347-669-0053 or hit me up on any of the socials, wherever the words After Movie and Diner are put together. That is me. And before we go, just to let you know, there is a huge miscellaneous plumbing fixtures album coming out on November 4th, Bandcamp Friday. First Friday of every month till the end of the year. Bandcamp are waiving their fees, and therefore musicians and artists get more when you purchase the album on that day. It is one of the large miscellaneous plumbing fixtures albums that involves collaborators from across the internet. It's songs that we've been working on for over a year. So hopefully it's a really great one. It's not just one of these ones where I'm putting out maybe 5 or 6 songs a month for people who are genuine fans of the stuff. This might be something that appeals to a much broader audience. So please do check out Miscellaneous Plumbing Fixtures. Follow Misc Plum Fix wherever you find it on social medias to check that album out. And the last thing I'll say is that the big plan for 2023, and I'm trying to put this out into the world so I actually do it, because it was going to be one of my plans for this year. But the big plan for 2023 is that I finally make a movie. Dun, 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 dun. So, do you really think this is the end of the After Movie Diner? And are you excited about me making a movie, and do you want to be involved? Email me, call me, leave me a voicemail, text me on social,
all that good stuff. And I will leave you with what I think is an appropriate song off the brand new album by Miscellaneous Plumbing Fixtures. No one else has heard this yet except the collaborators. And this will be out on November 4th, Friday. Anyway, thanks for the years and years of support. I love you all. And ignore all my grumpiness.
From the edge of a memory, 10 feet tall, take on any enemy, make good choices, embrace the calamity. I'm moving on from the fall of society, foraging for the future and forgetting what might have been. Break it all up and I'll put it back together again. I'm coming back. Look for me soon in the headlights. Look for me soon. I'm brave and undeniable, no longer quantifiable. You'll see me trying with all of my might. I'm coming back. I'm coming back. Clowns and jokers, they don't bother me. Each take complete chores to improve all your property. Can't put stock in your phony astrology. I'm moving on. If you want to help, feel free to pitch in. If you can't stand the heat, then get out of the kitchen. If you're feeling threadbare, let us all put a stitch in. I'm coming back. Look for me soon in the headlights. Look for me soon. I'm brave and undeniable, no longer quantifiable. You'll see me trying with all of my might. I'm coming back. Yeah, ooh, I'm coming back. Yeah, I'm coming back. From the edge of a memory, 10